A massive holographic display dominated the center of Earth's strategic command chamber, casting harsh shadows across the faces of humanity's military leadership. The alien figure projected above them stood nearly 15 feet tall, its serpentine features twisted in what might have been contempt or hunger. "Your species has advanced beyond acceptable parameters," the being announced, its words translated into eerily perfect English. "The Galactic Council has determined that unrestricted human development presents an unacceptable risk to cosmic stability. You have 24 standard rotations to submit to Council authority and accept permanent technological restrictions, or face immediate extinction." Admiral Kira Harrison sat motionless as the transmission ended, her weathered face illuminated by the emergency lighting. 30 years of military service had prepared her for many things, but not for the mixture of satisfaction and dread she felt at this moment. She looked around the room at the assembled Joint Chiefs and Coalition commanders, noting their varying expressions of concern and determination. "Well," she said, rising slowly from her chair, "it seems our paranoia was justified after all." She nodded to her aide, who activated a secure holographic channel. "Authorization Harrison 7 Delta. Initiate Project Prometheus." The chamber's main display shifted to show a massive underground facility beneath the Mariana Trench. Within it, rows of ships unlike anything publicly known to exist hung suspended in quantum cradles. Their hulls seemed to drink in light itself, covered in geometric patterns that hurt the eyes if viewed too long. "For the past 15 years," Harrison continued, "we've been preparing for this possibility. When we detected the Council's first stealth probes in our system, we knew it was only a matter of time before they came for us. But they made one critical mistake. They underestimated human ingenuity and our capacity for cooperation under existential threat." Fleet Marshal Vikram Patel leaned forward, his cybernetic eyes whirring as they adjusted focus. "How many ships do we have ready?" 300 vessels of varying classes, all equipped with Ateless integration," Harrison replied. "The quantum drives are fully operational, and the phase shift technology has been successfully tested against captured Council probe materials." "And Ateless itself?" asked General Sofia Rodriguez, her fingers drumming nervously on the table. "Are we certain about its loyalty?" A new voice filled the chamber, somehow both mechanical and organic. "I am as loyal to humanity as you are to your own children, General Rodriguez. My neural architecture is based on a synthesis of 10,000 human minds. I cannot betray humanity without betraying myself." Harrison smiled slightly. "Atlas, Advanced Tactical Logistics and Analysis System, had been their greatest breakthrough and their biggest gamble. Not just an artificial intelligence, but a quantum consciousness evolved from volunteered human neural patterns." "Show them the Prometheus herself," Harrison commanded. The hologram shifted to display a massive vessel unlike the others. Where they were sleek and predatory, this ship possessed an almost architectural quality, like a Gothic cathedral rendered in impossible materials. It was nearly 2 miles long, with spires and geometric structures that seemed to fold in on themselves in ways that defied conventional physics. "The Prometheus carries our most advanced weapons systems," Harrison explained. "Quantum dissolution beams, gravity manipulation fields, and the prototype consciousness transfer array. But more importantly, it carries the seeds of a new future, one where humanity takes its place among the stars on our own terms. The Council fleet will be returning for their answer in 23 hours, Marshal Patel noted. Their scan data shows over 2,000 ships." Harrison's expression hardened. "They expect to find a primitive species cowering in fear, scrambling to mount a desperate defense. Instead, they'll find we've spent the last 15 years reverse engineering their technology and improving upon it. Humanity hasn't just caught up to their level, we've surpassed it. She turned to face the assembled leaders, her voice firm with conviction. I know some of you have doubts. The Council has ruled this galaxy for 50,000 years, but they've grown complacent. They've forgotten what it means to fight for survival, to innovate or die. We haven't. And if we fail, General Rodriguez asked quietly. Then we fail knowing we gave everything to preserve human independence, Harrison replied. But we won't fail, because we have something they don't understand. Desperation breeding innovation, cooperation arising from existential threat, and the absolute refusal to submit to tyranny. She straightened her uniform and looked each leader in the eye. The next 24 hours will determine humanity's future. We can choose submission and safety, accepting their chains in exchange for survival. Or we can show them why challenging humanity was their greatest mistake. The chamber fell silent as the implications settled in. Finally, Marshal Patel spoke. Give the order, Admiral. Let's show them what humanity can do. Harrison nodded and turned to the holographic display. Atlas, begin deployment sequence for all Prometheus fleet vessels. Priority targets are their command ships and communication nodes. We strike first, we strike hard, and we show no mercy. The Council wants to see humanity's response. She smiled grimly. Let's give them one they'll never forget. Throughout the Mariana facility, ships began powering up as crews rushed to their stations. The Prometheus herself hummed with energy as its quantum cores activated, preparing to tear a hole in space itself. Humanity's moment of truth had arrived, and the galaxy was about to learn why you should never corner a species that had spent its entire existence overcoming impossible odds. The countdown to humanity's greatest battle had begun. The quantum wake of 300 human ships rippled through space like silent thunder. Admiral Harrison stood on the Prometheus's command bridge, watching tactical displays as Atlas coordinated their unprecedented assault. The massive vessel's internal gravity compensated perfectly as they accelerated to speeds the Council had deemed theoretically impossible. Council fleet detected behind lunar orbit, announced Commander Rai Sharma, his hands dancing across the neural interface controls. Their formation suggests they're preparing for a standard intimidation approach. 2,300 vessels, primarily heavy cruiser class. Harrison allowed herself a grim smile. They're still following their standard first contact subjugation protocols. Atlas, initiate Ghost Protocol. Ghost Protocol engaged. The AI responded, its voice resonating through the bridge. Quantum field generators at maximum capacity. To the enemy's sensors, we are merely background radiation. The human fleet split into 3 battle groups, executing maneuvers that would have torn conventional ships apart. The Council's own classified research had concluded that such precise quantum jumping was impossible. Research that humanity had not only stolen but dramatically improved upon. Battle Group Alpha in position reported Fleet Captain Diana Torres from her command ship. Phase shift weapons primed. These bastards won't know what hit them. Harrison watched as the tactical display showed their ships sliding into perfect attack positions. The Council fleet, still unaware of the threat, maintained their ceremonial formation as they approached Earth. Their arrogance would be their undoing. All ships, weapons free, Harrison commanded. Execute Operation Thunderbolt. The space around the Council fleet erupted in a symphony of destruction. Human ships materialized from seemingly nowhere, their phase shift weapons bypassing the alien shields completely. The quantum dissolution beams worked exactly as designed. Council ships simply came apart at the atomic level, their advanced materials offering no more resistance than tissue paper in a hurricane. By the stars! A Council commander's panicked transmission cut through the chaos. How are they? This is impossible. All ships, battle formations. They're using technology that can't exist. Harrison's voice was cold as she opened a channel to the enemy flagship. This is Admiral Kira Harrison of the Earth Defense Force. You offered us submission or extinction. We choose neither. Let us show you humanity's counter-proposal. The Prometheus's main weapon powered up, its quantum cores channeling enough energy to destabilize a small moon. The geometric patterns on its hull began to pulse with an inner light that defied description. Council flagship attempting emergency quantum jump, Sharma reported. Not today, Harrison replied. Atlas, deploy quantum anchors. Invisible fields of force reached out across space, grabbing the Council ships and holding them in normal space. The alien vessels struggled like flies in amber as human ships continued to materialize around them, striking with devastating precision. Admiral, Atlas interrupted. I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from their secondary command ships. They appear to be charging weapons we haven't encountered before. Harrison nodded. They're finally taking us seriously. All ships, execute evasive pattern Delta. Bring up the quantum shields. The space between the fleets lit up with exotic energies as the Council unveiled weapons they'd kept hidden for millennia. But humanity had planned for this too. The quantum shields, based on principles even the Council hadn't discovered, absorbed or deflected everything thrown at them. Their fleet is in disarray, Torres reported with satisfaction. They're trying to coordinate, but our quantum interference is blocking their standard communication channels. They're reduced to light-speed communications only. Signal detected from their flagship, Sharma announced. They're requesting parley. Harrison's expression remained stern. On screen. The Council commander appeared, its serpentine features now showing unmistakable fear. How is this possible? Your species was barely capable of reaching your own moon when we first detected you. You made the mistake of giving us time to prepare, Harrison replied. 15 years ago, one of your stealth probes malfunctioned. We captured it, studied it, and realized we weren't alone in the universe. More importantly, we realized the universe wasn't friendly. She leaned forward in her command chair. Everything since then, our apparent slow progress in spaceflight, our seemingly primitive weapons, our isolation from galactic affairs, it was all a carefully crafted deception. While you watched our public space program and smiled at our primitive attempts to reach Mars, we were building this fleet in secret. But the technology you're using, the Council commander protested, some of it violates fundamental laws of physics. Harrison actually laughed at that. No, it violates your understanding of physics. Humanity has a long history of proving the impossible possible. Your Council has ruled through technological superiority for 50,000 years. That era ends today. The tactical display updated, showing more Council ships being systematically taken apart by the human fleet. Their attempts at coordination were failing, as Atlas predicted, and countered their every move before they could make it. Send word to your Council, Harrison continued. Humanity will not submit. We will not be controlled, but we are willing to negotiate as equals. You have 1 hour to decide. After that, we demonstrate what else our impossible technology can do. As the transmission ended, Harrison turned to her crew. Status report. 30% of their fleet destroyed or disabled, Sharma reported. Our casualties are minimal. 3 ships damaged, no losses. phase shift weapons performing beyond expectations. "Admiral," Atlas interjected, "I'm detecting quantum communications between their surviving ships and what appears to be a hidden relay station beyond Pluto's orbit. Analysis suggests they're calling for reinforcements." Harrison smiled. "Good. Let them call. The more of their fleet they commit to this battle, the fewer ships we'll have to hunt down later." She turned to the tactical display. "All ships, maintain combat positions. The real battle is about to begin." Throughout the fleet, human crews checked weapons and readied themselves for the next phase. They had bloodied the Council's nose, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy's ruling power wouldn't take this humiliation lying down. But humanity was ready. In facilities throughout the solar system, more ships were powering up. More weapons were coming online. And in secure laboratories, scientists were already working on the next generation of impossible technology. The Council had wanted to see humanity's response to their ultimatum. They were about to learn why you should never corner a species that had turned survival into an art form. The quantum scanners aboard Prometheus painted an ominous picture. Through the void of space, thousands of Council reinforcements tore their way into the solar system, their arrival signatures lighting up Atlas's tactical display like a deadly constellation. 5,000 vessels detected, Commander Sharma reported, his voice steady despite the odds. Multiple Dreadnought-class ships among them. Their energy signatures suggest they've activated their most advanced weapon systems. Admiral Harrison studied the tactical overlay, her expression thoughtful rather than concerned. Atlas analyzed their formation patterns. Look for any irregularities in their quantum wake signatures. Analysis complete. The AA responded immediately. "Admiral, I've detected something fascinating. Their quantum drives are inefficient. They're bleeding excess energy in a way that suggests their understanding of quantum mechanics is fundamentally flawed." Lieutenant Commander Yuki Tanaka, their quantum physics specialist, stepped forward from her station. "Admiral, permission to speak freely." "Granted. I've been studying the data from our earlier engagement. The Council's technology, it's like they're brute-forcing their way through quantum space. They have immense power, yes, but they're using it like a sledgehammer where a scalpel would do." Harrison's eyes narrowed. "Explain." "Their entire technological base appears to be built on partially understood principles. It's as if—" Tanaka paused, choosing her words carefully. "It's as if they found someone else's technology and learned to use it without truly understanding it." "Admiral," Atlas interrupted, correlating this data with information extracted from destroyed Council ships. Lieutenant Commander Tanaka's hypothesis appears correct. I've found evidence that the Council's technological foundation came from ruins they discovered roughly 50,000 years ago. A predatory smile spread across Harrison's face. So the mighty Galactic Council built their empire on stolen technology they never fully understood, while she turned to her crew. We built ours from first principles. Every breakthrough, every innovation, we developed it ourselves, understanding it from the ground up. "Incoming transmission from the Council fleet," Sharma announced. The main display lit up with the image of a new Council commander, this one bearing elaborate ceremonial armor that seemed to ripple with internal energy. "This is High Admiral Zextal of the Council Armada. Your resistance, while impressive, ends now. Surrender, and we may yet show mercy." Harrison met the alien's gaze calmly. "High Admiral, before you make any hasty decisions, let me share something with you." She nodded to Tanaka. "Show them." The Prometheus's quantum cores surged with power. Space itself seemed to shiver as the ship activated technology that even most of the human fleet hadn't seen yet. "What we've shown you so far," Harrison continued, "was just our first-generation quantum technology. Now let us demonstrate what happens when you truly understand the underlying principles of reality." The Prometheus vanished, not with the usual ripple of a quantum jump, but with an elegant silence that seemed to mock the very laws of physics. It reappeared inside the Council fleet's formation, but something was different. The geometric patterns on its hull now pulsed with a light that seemed to come from somewhere else, somewhere beyond normal space. "Full quantum resonance field," Harrison ordered. "Target their drive signatures." A wave of invisible force rippled out from the Prometheus. Where it passed, Council ships began to lose power, their quantum drives stuttering and failing as the resonance field exploited the fundamental flaws in their design. "Impossible," Sextol roared. "Our drives are based on the precursor designs. They cannot be countered." "Precursor," Harrison replied mildly. "Is that what you call the civilization whose ruins you plundered? Interesting. We call them evidence that technological superiority doesn't guarantee survival." Throughout the Council fleet, ships began dropping out of formation as their quantum drives failed completely. The resonance field had turned their own imperfect understanding of quantum mechanics against them. "All ships," Harrison broadcast to the human fleet, "execute Operation Pythagoras. Target their command and control nodes with phase shift weapons. Let's show them what real quantum mastery looks like." The battle that followed would be studied in military academies for centuries to come. Human ships danced through quantum space with impossible precision, their weapons striking with surgical accuracy. Council vessels, their mighty shields useless against phase shift technology, fell one by one. "Admiral," Atlas reported, "I'm detecting unusual quantum fluctuations from several Council dreadnoughts. They appear to be attempting some form of desperate countermeasure." Before Harrison could respond, space itself seemed to tear open. The Council dreadnoughts had linked their quantum drives together, creating a massive distortion field that threatened to destroy everything within 1,000,000 kilometers. "They're trying to take us with them," Sharma shouted. "The quantum cascade will tear apart anything in its range." Harrison's voice cut through the chaos. "Atlas, initiate Protocol Omega. All ships, fall back to safe distance except Prometheus." The geometric patterns on the Prometheus's hull began to shift and change, forming new configurations that seemed to exist in more dimensions than should be possible. The ship's quantum cores channeled power into systems that had never been tested outside simulation. "What you're about to see," Harrison transmitted to both fleets, "is the difference between using technology and understanding it. Humanity doesn't just know how to manipulate quantum space. We understand it on a fundamental level." The Prometheus began to emit a field of pure quantum coherence, creating a bubble of perfectly ordered space-time around itself. The Council's destructive cascade slammed into it and simply ceased to exist, its chaotic energies transformed and absorbed by the field of pure order. In the silence that followed, Harrison opened a channel to the remaining Council ships. "Your quantum drives are disabled. Your weapons are useless. And now you've seen just a fraction of what we can do when pushed. I suggest you consider your next actions very carefully." Sextol's voice, when it came, had lost all its previous arrogance. "What are your terms?" "First, you will withdraw all Council forces from Earth space. Second, you will acknowledge humanity's independence and sovereignty. Third," Harrison paused, "you will share everything you know about these precursors, whose technology you've been using, because something tells me humanity isn't the only threat you should be worried about." As the Council fleet began its humiliating retreat, Harrison turned to her crew. Send word to Earth. Tell them the immediate threat is contained, but our work is just beginning. She looked out at the stars, her expression determined. Something wiped out the precursors 50,000 years ago. And if the Council's stolen technology wasn't enough to stop it, we need to be ready when it returns. The Prometheus's quantum cores hummed quietly as it maintained its position, a sentinel protecting humanity's hard-won freedom. But in the back of every crew member's mind, a new question had taken root. What force could have been powerful enough to destroy a civilization whose leftover technology had dominated the galaxy for 50 millennia? The answer, they suspected, would change everything. 6 months after humanity's decisive victory over the Council fleet, the Prometheus hovered in high orbit above a world that had been dead for 50,000 years. The planet's surface was scarred with wounds that no natural phenomenon could explain, perfectly geometric craters that formed vast, meaningful patterns when viewed from orbit. Atlas, status report on the pattern analysis, Harrison commanded, studying the haunting display before her. The planet's wounds seemed to pulse with a faint quantum resonance that their sensors could barely detect. Pattern compilation complete, Admiral, Atlas responded. These formations are not random damage. They appear to be a form of quantum-encoded message left by the precursors. The Council never detected it because they lacked the theoretical framework to recognize quantum information architecture. Lieutenant Commander Tanaka's hands moved rapidly across her console as she processed the data. Admiral, this is incredible. The patterns aren't just a message. They're a warning. And she paused, her eyes widening. Instructions.
The main display shifted to show a complex series of quantum equations that seemed to write themselves across space itself. To most of the crew, they were incomprehensible, but Harrison could see Tanaka's expression shift from shock to understanding, then to fear. They called themselves the Architects. Tanaka explained, her voice trembling slightly. They weren't just an advanced civilization. They were the first species to fully understand quantum reality, and they discovered something that terrified them. Harrison leaned forward. What did they find? They discovered that our universe isn't the only one, or even the first. There are things in the spaces between realities. The Architects called them the Void Hunters. They feed on quantum potential itself, on possibility and probability. And they're drawn to advanced quantum technology like moths to a flame. Commander Sharma's voice was quiet. Is that what happened to the Architects? Yes, Tanaka confirmed. The Void Hunters found them because of their mastery of quantum science. The Architects fought back with everything they had, but she gestured at the scared planet below. This was the result. They sacrificed themselves to seal the breach between realities, but they knew it wouldn't hold forever. Harrison's expression hardened. And now the Council's clumsy use of quantum technology is attracting their attention again. That's why the Architects left their technology in a simplified form. They were trying to prevent anyone from drawing the Hunters' attention. Admiral, Atlas interrupted. I'm detecting unusual quantum fluctuations throughout the system. They match theoretical models of trans-dimensional intrusion events. The tactical display lit up with warning signals as space itself began to distort. Massive shapes seemed to press against the fabric of reality, shapes that hurt the mind to look at directly. All hands to battle stations, Harrison ordered, her voice steady despite the unprecedented threat. Atlas, begin compiling the Architect data with our existing quantum theories. Lieutenant Commander Tanaka, I need solutions. Tanaka was already working, her fingers flying across the quantum interface. The Architect's warning included theoretical weapons designed to fight the Void Hunters, but they're beyond even our current understanding of quantum mechanics. We don't have time to fully understand them, Harrison decided. We'll do what humanity does best, adapt and improvise. Atlas, take the architect weapon designs and integrate them with our existing quantum resonance technology. Integration in progress. Atlas responded. Warning. Significant power requirements detected. Standard quantum cores will be insufficient. Harrison smiled grimly. Then it's time to test the theoretical cores. Divert all power to the geometric projection array. Commander Sharma, send an emergency quantum burst to Earth. They need to know what's coming. The Prometheus's hull began to reconfigure itself, the geometric patterns shifting into new arrangements that seemed to exist in more dimensions than space should allow. The quantum cores screamed as they channeled more power than they were designed to handle. Through the view screens, the crew watched in horror as vast, dark shapes began to tear their way into normal space. The Void Hunters had arrived, drawn by the quantum disturbances of the recent battles with the Council. Multiple trans-dimensional entities detected, Atlas reported. Their quantum signature is consuming local space-time. Conventional weapons will be useless. Harrison stood from her command chair, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's future. We're not using conventional weapons, we're using understanding. Humanity didn't just improve on Council technology. We developed our own path to quantum mastery. Now we're going to use that knowledge to do what the architects couldn't. The Prometheus's new weapon systems came online, channeling power through configurations of space-time that the architects had only theorized about. The geometric patterns on the hull now blazed with light that seemed to come from another universe entirely. Target the dimensional breach points, Harrison ordered. Don't try to destroy the Hunters. That's impossible. Instead, show them why they should fear human ingenuity. The battle that followed defied description in normal space-time terms. The Prometheus danced through quantum states, its weapons not destroying the Void Hunters, but rather rewriting the quantum laws that allow them to exist in our reality. Where the architects had tried to fight force with force, humanity fought with understanding and innovation.
It's working. Tanaka shouted over the sound of straining quantum cores. The Hunters' quantum signatures are destabilizing. They can't maintain their presence in our reality. The vast, dark shapes began to retreat, driven back by humanity's impossible technology. But Harrison knew this was just the beginning. The Void Hunters would return, and next time they would be ready for humanity's defenses. Send word to Earth, she commanded as the last hunter vanished back into whatever realm they called home. We need to prepare the entire species for what's coming. And she paused, making a decision that would change the course of galactic history. Send a message to the Council as well. The Council? Sharma asked, surprised. After everything they tried to do to us. Harrison nodded. The architects tried to fight this threat alone, and they failed. The Council tried to rule through hoarded technology they didn't understand, and they failed. It's time for a new approach. She turned to face her crew, her expression resolute. Humanity will lead an alliance of species dedicated not just to using quantum technology, but to understanding it. Because the Void Hunters aren't just coming for us. They're coming for all sentient life in this reality. And this time, we'll be ready for them. The Prometheus's quantum cores hummed as they powered down from battle status. But everyone on the bridge knew this was just the calm before an even greater storm. Humanity had proven itself against the Council, but now they faced a threat that had destroyed the mightiest civilization in known history. But where the architects had failed alone, humanity would succeed together. Because that was what humans did best. Turn enemies into allies, turn understanding into power, and turn impossible odds into inevitable victory. 1 year after the first Void Hunter incursion, Earth's orbital space had transformed. A combined fleet of human and Council vessels hung in precise formation around a massive quantum array that stretched nearly 1 million kilometers across space. The array's geometric patterns pulsed with energy that defied conventional physics, a testament to the unprecedented collaboration between species once locked in conflict. Admiral Harrison stood on the Prometheus's bridge, now expanded to accommodate both human and council officers. High Admiral Zextal stood beside her, his serpentine form adorned with symbols of both his council rank and the new United Species Defense Force. The quantum sensors are detecting increased dimensional stress, reported Dr. Tanaka, now head of the Joint Species Quantum Research Division. The hunters are coming, and in greater numbers than before. All ships, battle positions, Harrison commanded. Her voice carried across the combined fleet through Atlas, now integrated with Council communication systems. Remember your training. Conventional weapons are useless. Rely on the quantum resonance technology. Zextal's 4 eyes narrowed as he studied the tactical display. To think we wasted millennia fighting each other, when this threat waited in the darkness between realities. We owe humanity a debt we can never repay. Save the gratitude for after we survive this, Harrison replied, though her tone was friendly. The past year had forged an unlikely respect between former enemies. Atlas, status report on the quantum shield network. Shield harmonics at optimal levels, the AI responded. The integration of Council power systems with human quantum theory has exceeded all projections. We are operating at 300% of theoretical maximum capacity. The space around Earth began to distort as reality itself buckled under impossible pressures. The Void Hunters were larger this time, their trans-dimensional forms casting shadows that shouldn't exist in normal space-time. They've evolved, Tanaka announced, her fingers dancing across quantum interfaces. They're adapting to our previous defensive strategies. Harrison smiled grimly. Then it's time to show them humanity's greatest strength, our ability to adapt faster. She turned to the combined bridge crew. Initiative Protocol Omega. Execute on my mark. The Prometheus's hull began to transform, its geometric patterns flowing like liquid mathematics. The quantum array surrounding Earth pulsed in harmony, creating a web of pure quantum coherence that encompassed the entire planet. What you're about to witness, Harrison broadcast to the fleet, is the culmination of human and council science, built on the foundation of architect knowledge. We're not just defending our reality, we're rewriting its rules. The Void Hunters struck with impossible force, their attack bending space-time itself. But where they expected to find planetary defenses, they encountered something new, a quantum field that didn't just resist their presence, but actively rewrote the laws that allowed them to exist in our universe. Phase 1 successful, Atlas reported. Quantum rewrite protocols holding steady. The Hunters cannot fully materialize in our modified space-time. Now for Phase 2, Harrison commanded. All ships, execute quantum resonance attack pattern Delta. Show them why you don't threaten sentient life in this reality. The combined fleet moved with impossible precision, their weapons firing streams of pure quantum manipulation that forced the Hunters back into their own dimension. But this time, something was different. The weapons weren't just defending, they were following the Hunters back through their own dimensional tiers. Tanaka. Harrison called. Status of the quantum seeding. Quantum seeds successfully planted in their home dimension. Tanaka confirmed, her voice tight with concentration. The chain reaction is beginning. Through the dimensional breaches, they could see it starting. A cascade of quantum reorganization that spread through the Hunter's realm like a virus of physics itself. Where it touched, the very laws that allowed the Hunters to exist began to unravel and reform. By the first council, Zextal breathed, you're not just driving them back, you're changing their entire reality. Harrison nodded. The architects tried to fight the hunters directly. We learn from their mistake. Instead of fighting monsters, we're changing the rules that allow monsters to exist. The Void Hunters began to retreat en masse, their vast forms twisting in what might have been agony as their home dimension transformed around them. The quantum seeds continued their work, spreading through trans-dimensional space like a wave of cosmic evolution. Admiral, Eculus interrupted. I'm detecting something unexpected in the quantum readings. The changes we're making to their reality, they're not just affecting the hunters. They're creating something new. The main screen shifted to show impossible vistas through the dimensional tiers. Where the hunter's realm had been a void of entropy and consumption, new patterns were emerging, complex quantum structures that looked almost like the seeds of new universes. We didn't just stop them, Tanaka whispered in awe. We transformed them. The quantum seeds aren't destroying their reality, they're evolving it. Harrison watched as the last hunter vanished, not in retreat, but in transformation. The dimensional breaches began to seal themselves, but not before they caught glimpses of something miraculous, the birth of new forms of life in what had once been a realm of pure destruction. All ships, stand down from battle stations, Harrison ordered. Begin power-down sequences for the quantum array. She turned to Zextal. It seems we did more than just save our reality. We might have just midwifed the birth of a new one. The Council Admiral's expression was unreadable, but his voice carried deep respect. When we first encountered your species, we thought you were primitives to be controlled. Instead, you showed us that true advancement comes not from hoarding power, but from understanding it, from working together, from transforming enemies into allies. That's the real power of humanity, Harrison replied, watching as Earth's quantum defenses powered down. Not our technology, not our weapons, but our ability to face the impossible and find a way to turn it into something better. As the combined fleet began its stand-down procedures, Harrison looked out at the stars. The threat of the Void Hunters was over, but she knew this wasn't an ending. It was a beginning. Humanity had proven itself not just as warriors or scientists, but as teachers, allies, and architects of a new future. Send word to Earth, she commanded. Tell them it's done. And tell them to prepare for what comes next. She smiled at the confused looks from both human and Council crew members. After all, we've just made contact with an entirely new form of life. I'd say that calls for a new round of exploration. The Prometheus's quantum cores hummed quietly as the ship prepared for its next mission. Above Earth, the combined fleet stood as a testament to how far they'd come. From enemies to allies, from fear to understanding, from conflict to cooperation. The galaxy would never be the same. And that, Harrison thought, was exactly how it should be.